morning. Thank you for joining us on Center Stage, Nonprofits of Tucson. We have the really cool opportunity of getting to know different nonprofits that are in Tucson, to hear about what they're doing, the people that they are impacting, and how you can get involved. And I do want to just say that our guest today, the topic is a little bit heavy. And I do want to warn that if you do have kids listening, it is a heavy topic. And so I kind of want you to be prepared. We will be talking about human trafficking survivors. So with that introduction, I want to say thank you to Maria Cochran, the Executive Director and Founder of Freedom Warriors, and Lakeisha Pruitt, the #1 warrior. So thank you so much, both of you, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us, Daniel.
So I want to just get started with, this is something that I feel like a lot of times people wrongly think it just doesn't happen here. And they don't necessarily always understand how serious it is, even in our community. And, so I want to ask that you talk a little bit about, Maria, as the founder, why you started this nonprofit and some of the need that you saw, and what, you guys are able to meet through Freedom Warriors.
Yes, thank you. We founded Freedom Warriors in 2000, and I think I can definitely, be honest with you. I was not very, fluent on what was happening. We, as a family, we took a trip to Cincinnati, and we were just by chance went into the Underground Railroad Museum, and we went through the history of slavery and with our children. And towards the end of the exhibition, across from it was something that read "Modern Day Slavery." We had no idea what it was, and we walked in there unknowingly and realized that we were looking at a very sad and horrific practice that's been going on. And through there, we have learned that the United States is the leading country in human trafficking. And it generates about $9.5 billion annually, just in the U.S. alone.
Wow.
And so these are, things that we were hit by at the moment of that visit. Not only that, it really affected our children as well. And we could not finish the visit. We actually walked out. And on our drive back to Tucson, we realized it was in our hearts to begin to do something and bring this awareness.
I think that, you kind of hit one of the main things that's not there, which is the awareness. Thinking about other countries, a lot of times people will recognize that it does exist in other countries, but not to realize that it's here. It's in our backyard. It's right there. And you guys have a little pamphlet that you brought in that has some statistics on it. And I mean, just looking at some of those statistics, it's a really sobering thing to realize. I don't know how much I want to read on air, just because this is, we have families that are on here a lot, but the number of children that are being exploited, that every 2 minutes a child is being prepared for exploitation and human trafficking. Just some of the numbers. It's really hard when you sit and you think about what's really happening and so close to home. So I want to ask, seeing that the awareness is something that is kind of lacking, what are some of the things that you're doing, and how are you working to try to help bring awareness and try to introduce the need to people who maybe don't realize how close it is.
Well, like you mentioned earlier, Danielle, that this is a hard conversation. It's not as light as we would like it to be. So what we're trying to bring out into our community is a way to take something heavy and educate our community in a light, friendlier, softer, kind of wrap it up a little bit tighter for your families can be able to approach it with your children. Because although it's a heavy conversation, it's a conversation that should be had. I'm a mother of 4, and I used to work in early childhood education. And so if we don't say anything because it's scary, then the scary things happen. And as a parent, it's like when you sit down and have them watch cartoons. Cartoons have very serious, sometimes serious topics, but they light it up a little bit. And so us stepping out and doing things in our communities, at some of the middle schools and some of the group homes, that's a way to take this awareness and make it a little bit more family friendly for our communities. Because like you said, it is happening, whether we want to say it up front, whether we want to own it, it is something that we do need to talk about as light as possible, but as meaningful as we can, and with fierce just ownership and just power behind it, to just get the word out.
Well, and I appreciate, how you're sharing that too. It's something that, again, as parents, we need to be talking to our kids about and teaching things like body autonomy. And we need to be teaching, I want to say just like stranger danger, just anytime there's a situation that isn't comfortable, and also understanding that sometimes within families that they just need to know boundaries that they need to stick to. And it is a really hard thing to know how to present to your kids. And so I love that you're trying to be part of that in helping. And I think even equipping parents is really important too, to know how to have the conversations and to talk about what is happening in the world. Because if you don't know it's happening, then, you're more likely to be a victim of it, or to be in some way allowing it to continue.
Right, because we live in a world where when we were growing up, Maria and I, you seem a lot younger than us, where we were taught the stranger danger, like you said. And I remember the stories about the van and the puppy and the candy. And like Maria has educated me so much about just more than what I saw as a parent about the grooming inside a family and friends. So sometimes it's not anymore the van, the puppy, the candy. It's very much closer. I don't want to say closer than we think, but not the picture that we used to paint back in our day. Maria and I, not Danielle.
And I think, that is, again, another point where a lot of people will think that it's far away. We hear the stories of, I've traveled abroad quite a bit, where I've seen where families that are living in poverty do what they have to do to have money. And that sometimes, they do make choices where it's providing for the rest of their family, to allow a child to go into bad situations. And sometimes it feels like it's so far away just because, again, it's not your current reality, but it is happening. And when someone is faced with the opportunity to make money while sacrificing someone else, unfortunately, it can be close to home. It can.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe that's, it's a big misconception that, it's happening only outside the United States. And so that's one of our, purposes, is to go out and be disruptive a little bit with these conversations when we're talking with adults, because I can, share with you that through the small amount of time that we've had this nonprofit, and the conversations that we've had with other business owners, other businesses, other people, they do find that the people that are actually the predators that are doing this, they are within our community. and they can be like you mentioned, a parent. They can be a school teacher, which I believe is very common nowadays, and then also it could be law enforcement. Just in Oro Valley, we've had several cases. If you were to sit and research, we've had several cases of just that. And then the conversations with others is that what happens, it does not get reported. Most people, I have found that, have been exploited, have had this happen to them. They don't share that for whatever fear or rejection or whatever it may be that's holding them back from sharing, because it's not something that you're just going to come out and say. And because if you don't have someone that you can trust to be able to share this type of abuse, then it's a very lonely and very difficult road, and very hard to heal from this.
We are getting ready to go into the break, but I do want to ask, can you please give the hotline for if someone is in a situation where they need help? What is the hotline that they can call?
Yes, there's a hotline. It's at 888-373-7888. You can also text for help at 233-733. And
can you give us the website for Freedom Warriors?
It's thefreedomwarrior.org.
Okay, thank you. You are listening to Center Stage. We are talking with Maria and Lakeisha from Freedom Warriors. When we come back, we will be continuing the conversation, talking about trafficking and talking about the things that they are doing to try to help in this area, and we will be talking about lots more opportunities to get involved. Welcome back. We are talking with Maria Cochran and Lakeisha Pruitt from Freedom Warriors. And in the first segment, we talked about how human trafficking is a lot closer than many people want to admit or realize, and how these are things that they're hard conversations to have, especially with kids, but that you need to have the conversation, and that they need to understand why these things are important, and to talk about what happens. And Maria, as we ended the last segment, you were talking just a little bit about grooming and how that kind of happens. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for us?
Yes. So as of lately, this has become like the number one way to lure kids into trafficking, because what predators will do is they will target a victim. And usually, it will be a vulnerable child, a young adult who is feeling lonely, probably a little bit out of control in her environment, her natural environment. And also, they will be targeted through any of the social media platforms. But what happens is what the predators begin by gaining their trust. They will become friends. They will become boyfriends. They will become the trusting adult. They know what they are doing, so they know how to get themselves into the person's life, mind. So they, once they have gained trust, then they begin, to gather all kinds of information on their victim, and it could be, anything that they're gaining from their Facebook page, from who they follow, who the family is, and they could even integrate themselves into the family, which is the scary part. And once they have, their victim, then they will start to fill in that need of whatever they seem to be missing. If this child, doesn't feel like supported at home, then they will, provide that support. And then after that, they will start to isolate this person from their familiar places, people, and eventually the abuse, the extortion begins.
And I think that, as we're talking about how this process goes, it's important for us to remember as parents or as adults, if there are teachers listening or someone who is working with kids, that if you notice that there's a relationship that something feels a little bit off, it probably is. And really being that safeguard for the kids and helping them to be able to stand up for themselves and to know what is and is not okay. You can't control everything in their life, but you can help them be well prepared, and you can help them be ready to speak up.
Like, one of our goals is to be able to allow our families to help their child navigate through being a kid. One of the things that we've noticed with grooming is your social media. That's super important. I have a 12-year-old son, and friends, like you, Maria, mentioned, friends could be a part of that influence to gain that trust. Video games. When your child is sitting at home, and although you love him and that video game is occupying his time, that way he's not kind of nagging you, you always as a parent want to check in to make sure who is he communicating with in that network of video games. That's super important. Is it Roblox? Is that what's, Minecraft, what we talked about? That anyone can join those games. And so for me, I don't want to call myself a helicopter mom, but I do find myself checking in and asking, who is that person? Who is that kid? If you have a child with headphones, sometimes you can't hear the voices that are talking back to them, but just kind of poking your head in and being present on those type of things, because grooming can happen inside of those video games. Something that's, again, very innocent, very fun for your son or daughter to be enjoying, but there are adults there. And sometimes you have people who are really enjoying those great things that are really there for different purposes and reasons. And so I just want to add, like, when we're talking about when looking at in our systems around us, that's something as simple as in our homes, those video games, their cell phones. If you have small children and you don't have a cell phone check-in, maybe you should start that, where your child checks in their phone at night, like at 9 o'clock, and you just go through their phones and their Instagram, their Snapchat, because what we learned is that Snapchat is something that once the picture is sent, it disappears. So what happens to that? Who's seeing that? Where is it going out to? I was just watching my son the other day, and he was watching one of his friends on YouTube Live. And I'm like, what is this? Like, why is he there? Who else is watching this? And I saw a list of people who had no clue who these people were, and he was just playing a video game. But I called this child's mom and say, hey, FYI, he is live. His visual self is on YouTube. Were you aware of this? And she said no. So we not only have to be looking out for our own kids, sometimes as parents, we have to help our friends, our loved ones, and just other parents look out for their own kids as well. But just to go back to the topic of grooming, social media is serious. I know it's light, and I know it's a great way for all of us to connect with our families out of town and friends, and just to keep an update on what we're doing in our lives. But so are our children. Our children are doing that as well. And people are jumping into their DMs, and it seems light. Just like a girl posting a really pretty picture of herself, and maybe it's a picture in her prom dress. It's so innocent, but someone could say, hey, you're beautiful. And just teaching our children to say, don't even say thank you sometimes, or thank you and move on. But when there's a conversation going back and forth, that is not a safe space. And an adult should never be having a conversation with a child, knowing that child is underage. So, but that's could potentially where the grooming can happen in those DMs, unfortunately. Hope I didn't get too off topic with that.
No, I think it's a really important discussion. And as parents, if you're going to let your kids play on these games or to be on social media, that it's something that you need to be able to talk to them about the good and bad things that are out there, and to monitor their use for a while and to be aware of what's happening. Because if you're not aware of it, they may start with something that they don't realize is wrong. And that is where a lot of this starts. It's something that seems innocent, and then it heads in a different direction quickly when it does.
Yes.
What are some ways that we can get involved as community members, as parents, as people who want to help get the word out and keep kids, families, everyone protected?
Well, first, I'm going to say go to our website. So that's a perfect place to start, is just going to the website, looking at the information, signing up to be a part of our Warriors. We need so many people to just start there. If we can get people to just kind of go to that website and start there. We do have some of our sponsors there, people who are community leaders who are already saying, hey, we stand behind this. We know it's a problem. We're here to support you. So I'm going to say first, go to the website and see some of that information first. And then we have a few other things, few other people who support us. I think Maria has a list right there.
Yes. So one of the things is that, we are business owners that, want to bring that awareness. And what we are doing is we are forming a business against trafficking coalition. And so if you are a business, we want you to reach out to us. We want you to partner with us. We have, a few businesses that are already on board. Our goal is to, by the end of 2024, have at least 10 businesses that are providing either financially with goods or just coming out to support during events. One way of one of our partners, which is 440 and Company, down on 4th Avenue, they have actually created a candle that they have on their shelves, and we are selling 2 candles. One is a freedom candle and the other is a warrior candle. So there are many different ways that any business can come out and support us. We have a great platform through the Oro Valley Chamber of Commerce, where we are meeting other businesses and having these conversations and building on our relationships and hoping to grow this coalition against trafficking, because some of the traffickers could be in some of those businesses in the community.
And do you have any events that are coming up that someone may want to get involved with?
So we have the next event we have partnered with a local organization, Links, which is Building Bridges for Children. They build libraries across the world, basically. And we will be doing, on March 8th, we will be hosting the Cabrini movie, which is PG-13. At our AMC Foothills at 7:30 p.m. Reach out to us if you want tickets. We are not charging for tickets. We have about 100 tickets to give out, and for everyone to just come out on March 8th is actually International Women's Day. We're excited about that. And then we do have a tentative date where we will be collaborating with Southern Arizona Against Trafficking, 5:30 p.m. at Roadhouse Cinema. And that information will be coming out on our social media.
Okay, and we will make sure to try and get that information out there. Just in case someone is listening and needs that hotline number, can you give that to us again real quick?
Yes, 888-373-7888.
Thank you so much for listening in. This is Center Stage, Nonprofits of Tucson. Today we had Freedom Warriors talking about some ways to get involved and to fight against the human trafficking that is happening. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Indie Realty. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening in.
This Nellie, she was saying that
they're walking as an individual person, scared, and when they come into these people, girl was scared. It was a new girl that was there the day we walked in, but the other girls were helping her and just having that safe space when nothing in the world seems safe, especially if it's happening in your home.